Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of entitled people. In today's episode, girl tries to trick me into changing seats on airplane. Sorry she didn't call. Entitled teacher is convinced I am not real despite evidence. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Girl tries to trick me into changing seats on airplane. I was on an airline with my family who were scattered in the 1 or 2 rows in front of and behind me. The random girl next to me at the window seat was talking to her friend who was sitting directly behind me. The friend then asks me if I can switch seats with her so she can sit next her friend. It's still within the vicinity of my family, so I agree to it and we swap positions. She's laughing with her friend and turns and say, "Okay, my seat is way back there." Since she had standing in the row behind me talking to her friend, it had appeared like her seat was 1 row behind, but her actual seat was like 20 rows behind at the back of the plane. I told her, "I thought you wanted me to switch 1 row back. I'm not moving to the back of the plane. You didn't mention that before, and I can see you did it on purpose because you're laughing about it." She told me I agreed to switch and it's too late now, as if we're in high school. I told the flight attendant that the girl is in my seat, and she told the flight attendant that I agreed to switch. Without getting into who said what, I told the flight attendant, "I didn't agree and I've never spoken to this person in my life." They were angry and yelling, but it was either go to her seat or get off the plane. The only issue I was concerned about was having to awkwardly sit next to her friend for a few hours. The situation resolved itself when they got someone from the back to switch with them. You met her challenge and bested her. Well played. Wow, primary school called, it wants its attitude back. No takebacks. No dobbying. You said yes, now you have to do it. I'm rubber and you're glue. I'm glad you caught her in her lie. She knew what she was doing. Good playing dumb like she played dumb. Bottom line, never switch seats unless your seat is on fire. Sorry she didn't call. My store manager had to go for emergency surgery this week. There are a couple jobs at the store that only she is qualified to do. She has a schedule of that, with confidential customer information, that frankly I don't need access to. Customer called to inquire about said service she was waiting to pick up, and we informed her about the manger being off because of the emergency. We explained that she's the only trained person to perform the service, but if it is a time-sensitive project we would be happy to recommend someone to send it to. Customer came into the store yesterday to pick up her unfinished project that the manager didn't get to because of said surgery. She looks at me and then said, "Why didn't she call me to say it wouldn't be done on time?" I was dumbfounded. She had emergency surgery. Was all I could stammer out. So? She could have called me ahead of time to let me know it wouldn't be done. That's very unprofessional of her, was the response. She had emergency surgery, was my reply. Seriously. The poor woman was facing a life or death situation, and this Karen was wondering why on death's door she didn't call her to explain herself. What the hell is wrong with people? I totally understand her frustration, don't get me wrong, but I think in extraordinary situations like this, a little understanding goes a long way. How dare she not stop the doctors and make a phone call? How can she live with herself? Some people are awful, hope your manager is doing better. Thanks, she is recovering well. I'm still angry at that customer though. That entitled customer sounds like she has main character syndrome. My manager's husband passed away unexpectedly and there was some pending stuff she was working on that got held up. Most of our customers were super understanding. One was not. He got mad and didn't care that she was out on bereavement. He needed his stuff now. I was shocked at how callous he was being. This is a good example of why the manager must cross-train someone else to do her tasks as a backup. What if scenarios happen all the time? Not excusing the customer's nasty attitude by any means, but backup is a necessity. Going forward, there should be cross-training and a SOP in case she cannot be there or something happens unexpectedly. Then you would have a plan in place and none of the customers would know any difference. Just saying. Entitled teacher is convinced I am not real despite evidence. The title is a bit confusing, but it's the best I got to explain the situation. Also, this isn't my story, it's my aunt's, but I was directly involved when it happened. My cousins, 3 of them, have a teacher who I can say is really dumb. She has had events with 2 of my cousins and up until recently the 3rd one. If some of you don't know, I am European Asian. It's mostly 80 to 20. 80% German and 20% Indonesian. I look more white sometimes than the rest of my Asian side of the family, but there are some fun perks of being part Asian, hee. Now the teacher. My oldest cousin of my aunt's recently started learning geography. He loves it. As do I. In class they were learning of Europe, and when the teacher pointed out Germany, my cousin of course excitedly said, "See, hey cool, fun fact, my cousin is half German." The teacher had such a sour look at him and said, "There is always a time to play pretend, but this isn't one of those times. Lying will no be tolerated." See, no, he really is real and half German, I have proof, he came to visit for holiday. I will not tolerate lying in this classroom. Detention after school tomorrow. You will learn to stop lying. My cousin was of course visibly upset and later told his mom, my aunt, about the situation. Just so happens that while he was talking about the events, the teacher in question called my aunt to discuss my cousin's pathological lying in class. My aunt knew of this teacher quite well after she took a jab at her other 2 kids. So she was ready for the evidence to prove my existence. Come the next day after class, my cousin went to his detention and my aunt had a talk with the teacher. I called you here to discuss your apparent son's pathological lying. Yes, I'm aware of the situation, first off. Your son started making claims that he has a German cousin. Playing pretend is fine, but not in the middle of a lesson. If he was an imaginary friend, then fine, but still, it's not fun for the other kids. I'm sorry to break your clear power trip, but my son does in fact have a German cousin and he is my nephew. He is part Indonesian as well, I can show you pictures. So my aunt showed a bunch of family picture including a picture of me and my bio dad to prove he is in fact real and I am the result of that with my mother. Just like your son, typical liars. It's clear you got that off the internet. I will recommend a child psychiatrist for your son as clearly his mother is just as incompetent. My aunt was pissed but not angry, even though the comments given was a bit too far. So as a last-ditch effort she tried one last tactic. Calling me and my mom. I answered immediately and my aunt explained the situation. I explained to the teacher of my clear existence in all 3 languages. Indonesian, German, and English. It's nice that your so-called aunt paid you to say this. Sorry, I don't believe it. She proceeds to click the hang up button after saying this. Okay, this has happened with now 3 of my kids, either you are having an issue with my family or you're just an asshole. I am recommending you to the principal to either reassign you or get you fired. This is insane despite all the evidence I have shown towards you. You need to get out more, lady. What do you think Germans look like? Asian? There is no need for vulgar language or being rude to me, I just simply don't believe the reality of your family. What does that even mean? Whatever, I am taking my kid out of detention because there is no reason to keep him there for simply telling the truth regardless if you believe it or not. My aunt stormed out of the classroom and took my cousin out. My aunt was so pissed over the situation that after reporting the teacher to the principal, she bought my cousin McDonald's and 3 video games. My cousin is thinking of finding more teachers to piss off, lol. Some people would rather die than admit they were wrong, even when the truth is obvious to everyone else. They simply cannot form the words "I was wrong" and would rather have people laugh at them for being stupid than for being wrong. I have 2 separate cousins who each have 4 different nationalities as grandparents. I have 2 in my adopted/real family, 3 biologically, but we're all white AF, Polish/British, bonus Welsh American bio-grandpa. My cousins have China, Greece, South Africa, and the Philippines, and I have German and American cousins. It's not unusual? When I was in 3rd grade, my niece and I were in the same class. It was the first year at the school for both of us. I was the oops baby, so my sister, both parents the same, is 18 years older than me, and her pregnancy overlapped with our moms. For show and tell, we decided to tell everyone that we were aunt and niece. The teacher very politely told us that was not possible and we must be mistaken about our relationship. Maybe we were cousins? We said we didn't think so, because that's how our moms told us we were related. No, we must be mistaken. My final word was, I don't know, but her mom is my sister. I don't know if there was ever any follow-up, but there was definitely no apology. About a month later, they decided we should be separated, so I was moved to the other, better IMO, 3rd grade classroom. This doesn't feel real. I'm sorry, this feels like a wild dream that was manifested into a literal, unbelievable story. In like 1998 to 99 school year, a teacher asked us how our summer was. I happened to be in the same area as a tornado out in eastern Colorado, close to Kansas border, so I talked about that situation. This teacher told me I was lying. He said, tornadoes don't go in Colorado. If we had Google back then, I could have proved he was severely uneducated about weather, but we didn't have Google. Instead, I got made fun of for making up a story. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.